Welcome back to the last class of the Neuro series. It's really one of the most fascinating subjects for me, and I've got so much gratitude for neuroscience unpacking and exploring what mindfulness does for the brain. I've known it for decades as I suffered from my own mental health journey, panic, worry, depression. But after practicing mindfulness, I was so astounded at the benefits, and it was really difficult for me to then encourage my friends and family and those that I cared about to do these practices, because there was no real scientific evidence for this having any real benefit. And what amazed me is about 7-8 years ago, to start seeing neuroscientists come out of all the main universities, Harvard, Stanford, California University, Cambridge, Oxford, so many universities and neuroscientists, hospitals, medical institutions, all starting to research the benefits of mindfulness. And it really started with Dr. Jon Kabat-Zinn publishing his work, Full Catastrophe Living, big thick book like this, and from there the case studies just grew exponentially to a point now where I don't have to encourage people to practice anymore. I just let the science do the talking, in that the benefits to the brain are remarkable. And it's kind of sad in a way, because we can't peek into the brain and see what's actually going on. But we notice when our body's changing shape, when we're becoming fitter and trimmer, and that excites us to do more physical training. But mental training, we just have to go on faith of what science is telling us and what's actually happening in the brains of human beings as we go through these practices. But we know, and knowledge is power, education is power. We are now educated, and yeah, the brain is important. The brain, we filter the outside world just from our brain, from our minds. So surely this is important. Surely it's as important as brushing your teeth. Or, I mean, I can do without my teeth. I can do without my teeth, but I can't do without my mental wellness, my mental health. And I witnessed family members suffering terribly from their own mental health. Suicide is big in my family, and I don't want to wish that on anyone. So mental health is, I like to call it mental fitness rather. One of the most amazing things that I came across in 2017 is I run a teacher training program. I train people in mindfulness to become mindfulness facilitators, because the world needs these people, as the world needs doctors and surgeons and so on. These people are vitally important. And I take them on a 13-week training process. And I started this in 2015, and in 2017 I came across research by the Max Planck Institute in Germany, and they prove that different practices affect different parts of your brain. In the same way that if you were to walk into a gym, that machine over there, the leg machine, is for your legs, and this is for your arms, and these are for your triceps, and that's for your back, and all these different exercises work different parts of your body. I remember going to the gym first time and being so confused. Where do I start? I think I was trying to do arms on the leg machine, and everybody was laughing at me. And that's why it's so important to go through a structured program, so you know, okay, now I do this, now I do that. Otherwise you'll be feeling like a fool, like I did when I went to gym for the first time. But can you imagine if you just went to the gym and you only trained one body part, like legs? You'd have these really well-shaped legs, but the rest of you would not be in shape or toned. So to practice mental fitness, we need to understand that the brain is a whole workout. We work the whole brain. You can just do one practice like breathing, and that's only going to work the prefrontal cortex. But what about the other parts of your brain? So what are those other parts that are quite key parts? And there's so many parts of the brain. And we've talked a little bit about the anterior cingulate cortex in the last session, which is just behind the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible to regulate, so that we are able to keep our mouths shut at certain times and not say what's really going on, and to regulate, control us. Otherwise, we'd do outrageous things. I mean, anyway, some people do, and if you were to scan their brain, you'd find that that part is weak or damaged. So as we train in effect practices, concentration practices, we are building the prefrontal cortex. Okay, we are building this part of our brain by focusing, and the prefrontal cortex is responsible for our executive functioning, which is enormous. It's decision making, it's creativity, it's task flexibility, it's everything that makes us human. So if we're focusing on sound or breath, or we're doing a body scan, those are all focus practices, like a magnifying glass. Then when we shift into thinking about other people, what are they going through? Can I walk in their shoes? Do I understand what's happening with them? Why are they behaving in a certain way? Being curious and open-minded, empathic. Then we shift into growing the parietal region of the brain, which is right at the top of the crown. Now, researchers at Max Planck confirmed that this part grows, as did Sarah Lazar from Harvard University. And then the other part that I want to focus on is the temporal pole, which is on the side of the brain. So this particular area is, as that grows, when we think about loving kindness, when we are compassionate, when we are considering how can we help somebody, or how can we send someone love, then that starts to grow on the side of the brain. So it's the insular to temporal pole, which is an area in the brain which actually grows. Neuroscientists can look at your brain and say, this person is practicing emotional intelligence practices. Yes, you can increase your emotional intelligence by growing that part of your brain. In the same way that you can lift heavy weights with your biceps if you're training your biceps, but you can't do it on day one. It's a process. So emotional intelligence is a remarkable skill that most effective leaders have, but it's something that we train in. So that particular part of our brain is when we are thinking loving kindness thoughts of may you be well, may you be happy, may you be safe, may you live in peace. Then loving kindness growing in our brain, physical growth happening in our brain. And not only do we see those changes, but neuroscientist Richard Davidson has proved that even the gamma, the energy in the brain, is located in the prefrontal cortex in the left hemisphere when we are sending loving kindness. And it is the same region that when people are happy, that part of our brain lights up. So what am I saying? Yes, we can now measure the energy in your brain, and you can increase your happiness, your personal happiness, by being happy for others. It's proven. It's proven. Google happiest man in the world and see what comes up. A wonderful French monk by the name of Mathieu Ricard. So there's so much to be excited about in terms of the brain, all the latest research that's, have you heard of this before? If not, why? Why have you not heard of this before? It's just not sensational. It doesn't sell newspapers, but it should, because it's remarkable, because it affects you and your worldview, your happiness, your perception, your reality. Everything depends on this. Is it not important? Of course it is. It is fundamentally important. I don't need to sell this to you like I used to. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Let's get into a practice. Continue with the series, and when you're finished with this one, why not click on the next one? See you there.